I love the story behind this song. Mama said me too. So we were traveling. Oh, my piano got turned off. If Aunt Jeannie is watching, I'm actually playing the keyboard that she got for Mama. Thanks for letting me borrow it tonight. Sounds pretty good, Aunt Jeannie. You picked out a good one. But this song, we were traveling. I was traveling with Mom and Dad, and I was running the merch table, which I usually did. And, you know, any of you guys that sing Southern Gospel, you always know that the merch person has to leave, you know, before the last song to get the table up and running so that when everybody starts leaving, the table's open and ready to sell the CDs and whatever else you have at your table. And so I left a little bit early to go open the table, and there was this most precious elderly man who looked like something straight out of a cartoon, just big old indented dimples. He was real tall and real skinny, very, very sharply dressed, put together, and he had a little usher's badge that said Mr. Wolfgang on it. And just that alone, I was like, what a cool name, Mr. Wolfgang. And he walked over and he started kind of perusing the table as I was opening things up. And he picked up one record, and his eyes welled up with tears. And I said, "Sir, are you okay?" And he said, "This was my wife's favorite record." And it was an old one of my grandparents, or of the Rambos. And he said, "This was my wife's favorite record." And he was crying, and he said she went home to be with the Lord 2 weeks ago, but she was so looking forward to this concert, she just didn't make it to the concert. And I just, break my heart. And it was one of those moments where it was like time froze, and the Lord said, "Pay attention to this." And he was holding that CD close to his chest, and he looked off and he said, "I met her in a crowded supermarket in 1938. And I ran her over with my cart, and I knew she was the one." And I was like, "Wait, what?" And then he looked at me and he goes, "I bet you want to know how that story ends, don't you?" And I said, "Well, sir, you kind of told me if she's been your wife since 1938. But the way he looked at me and said, "I bet you want to know." And until the service let out, yeah, he was in his 90s. They had been together for decades. And he stood there and he told me their whole story. As soon as he walked away from the table, I grabbed like the nearest pen and paper I could, and I jotted down 1938 supermarket, as many details as I could to tell this little man's story. I used to do this song when my brother and I put on Call Me Mr. concerts back in the day. This is Mr. Wolfgang. Pardon me, Mr. Wolfgang, could you spare a moment of your time? Answer me one simple little question. What became of your cotton candy sweetheart who stole your breath away? You passed her in a crowded supermarket in 1938. Your patent shoes ran right into her ankles and sealed your lovely fate. Oh, Mr. Wolfgang, did you run away? Mr. Wolfgang, oh, what did you say to the cashmere milkmaid who won your heart that day? Between the bread and lemonade, da 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 da. Pardon me, Mr. Wolfgang, is this how the story really ends? With the crash of bottles on the concrete, what became of your pretty new acquaintance and her polka-dotted smile? She fixed her hair and tied it with a ribbon and stared back for a while. But closing time soon ended Mr. Wolfgang, oh, what did you say to the cashmere milkmaid who won your heart that day? Between the bread and lemonade, da-da-dee-da-da, 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 da-da-dee-da-da. Pardon me, Mr. Wolfgang, could you spare a moment of your time? Answer me one simple